Hello, it's Alex and welcome to Hey Little Thrifter. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my March thrift haul. I only ended up getting a couple of items of clothing this month, but I did buy a lot of books, so I'll show you what I got. First up, from Salvation Army, I got this pair of black jeans. They're the Not Your Daughter's Jeans brand, which I haven't had any from that brand before, but these were exactly what I was looking for, just another pair of black jeans. They're kind of high-waisted and these were just super comfy and really nice and soft, and they were only $4.99. And I think this is quite an expensive brand, so I figured $4.99 was a good bargain. I also got a pair of sandals, and these are from Skechers and they were only $2.99. And they're just a nice black strappy sandal with a kind of a bit of a platform. I don't actually wear heels, so this is literally about my limit. And yeah, these were my size, super comfy. And wearing sandals seems like a bit of a far-fetched idea at the moment, seeing as it's still freezing here. We had snow recently again, and I'm still wearing lots of woolly jumpers, but one day I will get around to wearing these when it gets nice and sunny again. So that was actually all of the clothes I got this month, and before I move on to the books, I thought I would share an honourable mention, which is this guy. It's a cassette tape called Monster Mash, a great dance/party favourite. It was my birthday recently, and this was actually a gift from my husband. He apparently found it at one of the library book sales we went to recently, and he somehow managed to sneakily hide it in there without me seeing it. So yeah, this was a really fun find and an awesome gift. I haven't actually had a chance to listen to it yet, but I look forward to doing so, and it will definitely be on rotation when it comes closer to Halloween. Okay, on to the books. The first one was actually from the same trip to Salvation Army that I did with the other items, and it is The Hampton Sisters by Bernard F. Connors, and it actually has a pretty awesome cover with reveal. Yeah. Apparently you don't know what terror means until you've met the Hampton Sisters, so I look forward to checking this out one of these days. And it actually has, I totally almost forgot to mention, it's even got a map in there, and I do love a book that starts off with a map, so yeah, this should be fun. Okay, so the next batch of books were from a library book sale, and they had paperbacks for 50 cents and other books were, I think it was $1 each, or you could get 3 books for $2. So yeah, good prices. And I found Beast by Peter Benchley, who is most famous for writing Jaws, and it does have some good quotes in here, like guaranteed to frighten you out of your thong bikini. So interesting. And we also have a picture here of Peter Benchley himself looking suave, gazing off into the sea. So that was only 50 cents, and the next 3 books were $2 total. I got Mr. Be Gone by Clive Barker, and I think this is actually a first edition, which is pretty cool. It's got these really pretty end papers, and then all of the pages have an effect that makes them look kind of old, which I thought that was kind of cool. So even though it has like the library stamps and stuff in there, I figured that was still pretty nice to have a first edition. And I think this one is about a demon or devil of some sort. So yeah, and it's Clive Barker, so it's bound to be pretty good. I also got Michelle Remembers by Michelle Smith and Lawrence Pasda, MD. And this is non-fiction, apparently. It's about Michelle's regained memories of supposed satanic cult abuse back in the 70s or 80s, and I believe this book was one of the kind of driving forces behind the whole satanic panic craziness of the 80s. So yeah, apparently these were all repressed memories, but it all sounds a bit far-fetched, and I don't know if anyone actually believes it. But it might be an interesting read nonetheless, so I figured since it was so cheap, I might as well grab it. And last up from that batch, I got Birdman by Mo Hader. This is a crime thriller mystery type thing, and I've read one other book by her, The Devil of Nanking, which was fantastic, and I've been wanting to read more of her stuff, and this is actually her debut novel, so I figured this would be a good place to go next. I believe we're following a serial killer, or we're following the detectives on the hunt for a serial killer, and there's something to do with the forensics behind that, so that all sounds really interesting, so I'm looking forward to getting to this one before too long. Okay, so on to the next and final batch of books, although I did get 10, and these were all priced at 3 books for $2, so they were super cheap, and that's kind of why I couldn't really say no. And I ended up getting 10 books, but my husband also got some books, so we still got them in the bargain 3 for 2 deal. But that means that my total of the 10 books, if you don't round up, it comes to $6.66, hilariously enough, but I do round up, so it was $6.67. So first up is The Guardian by Jeffrey Convitz, and this has a creepy nun on the front and some creepy dudes inside. So I'm not entirely sure what this one was about, I can't remember now, but it looks like it might be good. Next up is The Eyes of Darkness by Lee Nichols. This is a pseudonym for Dean Koontz, who is a very famous thriller writer, and this one has a pretty cool cover reveal. We've got a bit of everything going on in there, so this should be good. This is about a woman whose son died some time ago, and now in the present day she's receiving some weird things going on that make her think maybe he isn't dead after all. Next up is Son of the Endless Night by John Farris. I've heard of this author but never read any of his stuff, so I'm glad I found this one, and this one does have a pretty special cover. Check that out. This one is a bit of a chunker, so it is a little bit daunting, but this one is something about evil, I think. Next up is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, the classic murder mystery. I think I have read this some years ago, but I would totally reread it one of these days, and I figured this was a good condition copy, I might as well grab it. Next up is The Year's Best Horror Stories 16 by Carl Edward Wagner, and this is a horror short story anthology with a rather amazing design, and this was published in 1988, and it has a short story by Stephen King and one by Ramsey Campbell, so yeah, a couple of familiar names in there. I thought this might be a fun one. Next up is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, and I recently read my first Ray Bradbury book, which was Something Wicked This Way Comes, which I really enjoyed, and Fahrenheit 451 is an absolute modern classic, so I look forward to reading this one of these days. And this is a dystopian novel all about a world where books are banned and burned. Next up is Into the Pit by Warner Lee, and this definitely seems to be the cheesiest looking one of the bunch, but because they were so cheap I kind of had to get it, and the tagline is "She is back from the grave with a vengeance," so I think there might be some zombie action going on here. Next up, something a little more highbrow maybe, The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón, and I've heard so many great things about this book, so I was really excited to find a copy. It's been on my to-read list for quite a while, and this, I believe, is a mystery all about a boy who is looking for a particular book, or he's read a book and then he's looking to find the others written by the same author, but apparently they somehow don't exist, and it just sounds very interesting. It's set in Spain, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to finally reading this one. We're almost there, guys. We've got 2 more books to get through. Okay, The Influence by Ramsey Campbell, with a terrifying child on the front. Ramsey Campbell is another really famous horror author that I haven't actually read any of, so I was really pleased to find this one, and it even has this brilliant picture of him on the back looking very Garth Marenghi. If you've ever seen Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, then you are automatically my best friend. And lastly, we made it, is Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill, and he is one of Stephen King's sons. I still haven't read any of his stuff either, but specifically Heart-Shaped Box has been on my to-read list for quite some time, so again I was really pleased to find a copy of it. And this is a horror/thriller, I think, about a guy who collects weird things, and one of the things he acquires is a ghost that haunts him. So yeah, sounds like it could be good, and I've heard really good things about it. So that was everything. Well done if you're still here, thank you. So now to talk about the budget. I have an ambitious budget for the year of $100, and this month I spent $18.14, so that brings my total spent for the year so far is $47.44. So yeah, we're a quarter of the way through the year, but I'm already just over halfway through the budget, so a little bit of a failure scenario going on here, but hey, we'll see what happens in the coming months. I'm still pretty pleased. I've definitely cut down a lot from what I've been spending previously on thrifted items, so I'm definitely being a bit more conscious of my buying. So that was it. I hope you all had a really great month of March. Let me know if you've thrifted anything interesting. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully I will see you again in my next video. Bye!